Chase, welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
I am excited to have you. So, we were just talking before we got started about how long we've known each other. I almost fell off my chair because you said it was probably about 10 years.
Which is
And
crazy.
insane. Like, I just don't know where the time goes. I
We
feel
look
like
the same though. We look identical, like no time has
oh,
passed.
totally. Nothing's changed, nothing at all. But I am delighted to have you on after knowing you for all these years because I think you have such a great story to share. I love how your career trajectory and also how you've woven your momhood into all of it. So I want to get started, if we can, talking a little bit about your career so far, because you started in the agency world
Yes.
and you're now on the brand side. So can you talk about your current role? You're leading omni-channel marketing for Dorel Juvenile. What is Dorel Juvenile? What's the
Yes.
company? And then also, what is omni-channel marketing for
Oh
those
my
who may
gosh.
not know?
Two really great questions. So started my career on the agency side. I learned a ton. I started on the brand digital side of agencies and then slowly kind of worked my way into shopper. That's how I
Mhm.
landed in Northwest Arkansas. But Durrell, so people out there may be familiar with our brands, but maybe not the parent company, Dorel Juvenile. But we are one of the largest baby companies in the world. We manufacture under the brands Safety First, Maxi-Cosi, Tiny Love, Costco Kids, our private label with Walmart, and our exclusive brand with Walmart, Monbébé, which we'll get into a little bit here in a bit. And then we do some licensing with Disney Baby. So hopefully, all the parents listening, you at least have one of those items in your house under those brands. And omnichannel, whew, depends who you ask. In my world, it means paid media across both digital and in store, and really truly that whole 360 marketing approach. So I have the pleasure of leading the US media team to do that across all of our brands and all of our retail partners. And it means also retail and D2C. In our world, D2C would be considered omni-channel, but I get a lot of LinkedIn requests wanting to know what omni-channel means to me, because it means so many different things to so many different people in the industry.
So for you, omni-channel marketing is looking at the brands under Dorel Juvenile and figuring out how do we use these tools across these marketing channels to reach our target customer, convert, awareness, all of it. It's like top
Bingo.
of the funnel all the way down. So
All the way.
awareness all the way down to purchase.
And it's a large partnership. Like, I want to be clear, like, yes, we are an amazing team and I'm so proud to lead that. But we work very closely cross functionally with our brand team, with our sales team. You got to be lockstep with your supply team, your C suite. I mean, everyone really plays a role in that. So I think it's omni-channel in the function of tactical execution, if you will, but it's also omni-channel in the sense of alignment internally, kind of omni-channel within the org. And hats off to our leadership team that really made that call about 5 years ago that we really needed to be aligned in that way.
Yeah. Well, and what does that mean practically then for the teams? Did it change how people did their jobs? Like making that kind of switch within an organization.
Yeah,
What are
I
the
mean, I
implications?
think that we're, if not in everyday communication, almost everyday communication with one another.
Mhm.
I mean, I think, for a long time, and I'm making a generalization here, but I do think that marketers sometimes don't work great with sales teams or might not work great with other teams from the product side. And that might just really come down to not understanding what each other does. And I think once we broke down those barriers and understood that, hey, if I understand how the product is made and produced and all of those intricacies, that's going to make me a better marketer. It's going to make me a better storyteller. Also, you might as well tell your supply team too, hey, I'm going to do a promotion. Do we have it in stock? Right? I mean, those are really fundamental questions that sometimes we don't ask ourselves.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I can't tell you how often I have heard from marketers, from people who are doing different promotions, that they dream up this amazing promotion, some great offer that they have, and only to find out that there's no product in inventory. They're driving demand and there's no product there.
And it's the
So,
worst, right? I mean, there's so much work that goes in
mhm,
to not only the creative of what you're pushing out
mhm.
to, the actual lineage, if you will, of the campaign. Like there's so much that goes into that. And then to find that you're either out of stock or didn't have it to begin with, like, ooh, let's
Mhm.
start
Yeah.
from the beginning.
You know what's interesting about that is that I think it should be just fundamental in how we think about marketing, that we are walking the customer journey for whatever promotion, whatever communication we're doing, we're actually walking it. Because how often do we not pay attention maybe to one detail that might seem minor, but it can completely the reaction you're going to have to your promotion if you had not
Absolutely,
thought it
absolutely.
through.
Well, and I think you bring up a good point too. I mean, you can lay out the best strategy in the world, but if you don't understand the intricacies, like you're not in there actually testing the emails, testing the links, making sure that the promo is serving, like you're as terrible as the content you're then going to drive to, right? Like you've got to be a team player in that regard too.
100%. Like if you're going to do a promo code, let's say for a product on a retail site, make sure the promo code works.
Right. And then
Just
maybe take the
basic.
extra step and ask the subject matter expert and say, hey, I've never done a promo code. Don't be afraid to say you don't know something and lean into your team and learn. I think, as a leader, that is like some of the best advice, if we're giving advice today, that I can give is just, put your guard down. It's okay
Yes.
to not know everything. And if anything,
Yeah.
your vulnerability usually is more relatable to your team than you think it might be. And it really has inspired a lot of people, I think, along the way. If you are not afraid to say, hey, I don't know.
It's incredibly empowering to be able to say to someone, hey, you're the expert on this. I need you to help educate me. I am not aware. I'm not knowledgeable about this thing. One of the interesting things I've learned as I've gone on in my career, I realize how little I know. And it's when I started, I remember my first job. As you go, you realize as you move forward in your career, I think you realize because you start to understand how much there is to learn. I think it's
Gosh,
like knowledge is what lets you know almost how ignorant you can be on other things. And ignorance is not a bad thing. It's just like, I don't know. I don't know this thing and I
totally.
want to learn. And I've always found too that it's one of the best traits to have as a professional, to have curiosity and to be like, oh, I don't know this thing, but can you, like, I'm going to learn about it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Mm,
and I think it's interesting you bring up curiosity because I feel like I've probably been more curious than others because I'm constantly asking why. Sometimes like a toddler a little bit, like my toddler's like, "But mommy, why?" And but I'm really trying to understand, "Hey, why are we doing it this way? Are we doing it this way because we've always done it this way? Could we
mm,
think about doing it this other way?" Right?
mm,
And not in a challenging, combative way, but just having that conversation to just kind of stop and pause and
yes.
think about it. And that went into the content in the partnership too with She Speaks. I mean, when we were working with you guys on our influencer campaign for Monbébé, I mean, we stopped, we paused, we were curious of,
Mhm,
hey, let's really think about the parent, where they are in their mindset, where they are in their
mm,
journey. How can we develop great content that
mhm.
services their need, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I want we'll talk about the Monbébé campaign in a minute, but I wanted to also emphasize I love that you are unafraid of asking why. And I think connected to that, it's you sometimes the way that we've done it for a long time is no longer relevant. Like there's a reason that we did it this way for a long time, but now we can do it differently. Always asking that why is so important. So let's talk a little bit if we can. Let's get into the influencer because you just mentioned it. So Monbebe, what is Monbebe, the product that you were just talking about?
Yes, so we'll talk about the brand here for a second. So Monbebe is the Walmart exclusive brand that we have, and it is tagline is baby inspired, style admired. And it's really our fashion brand. It is brought to you by Dorel at Walmart, exclusively at Walmart. But the idea was to bring great products with that extension of your parental style at a price point you could afford.
Mhm.
And so the products that we have are from strollers to high chairs to, travel systems and car seats. And it's really, really beautiful, fashion forward thinking in that regard. But the product that, we partnered with on was our 360 stroller. It's our 360 travel system. And it is so cool. I mean, I hope we tag the content in the show notes because people need to see it. It's so great. But, it's a travel system that allows that parent to just spin the child around, whether that be, forward facing or whether it be facing towards the parent instead of having to actually take apart the modular or the car seat and move them
Mhm.
towards you. You do
Mhm.
one flip. And as parents, I mean, we're always looking for quick and easy solutions.
Mm.
This level of technology is usually in that $900,000 price point. I mean, we're bringing it to the customer for less than $400 at Walmart right now. I
Yeah.
mean, if you need a
It's
travel system, go and get it because it is just
totally.
absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, I have to tell you, when I saw the product, I thought, "It's so brilliant. How come nobody thought of this before?" I mean, it was astonishing. It's one of those products I have to say that it was so incredibly fit a need. So as a parent, I remember how I used to think to myself when my kids were that young, where they were in a stroller, that were that age, how I wished I could just have them be easily able to have them face forward or face towards me, depending on what was happening.
Well, now you can. We
Yes,
solved it.
it's brilliant. It's
Maybe a little
brilliant.
too late, but we solved
No, but
it.
it's brilliant, and it's one of those
Thank you.
products that it's like, well, why? I can't imagine why this didn't exist before. So, congratulations on
Thank
launching
you.
it. Why did you decide that utilizing influencers for this to launch this brand exclusively at Walmart, the Monbebe brand, this stroller at Walmart? Why influencers?
So I think one, we've all seen the stats. I mean, influencers, they definitely tell the customer the content story that they're looking
Mhm,
for in the most genuine way. And I think for this product in particular, we had to have video. We absolutely
mm,
had to have video. I mean, these listeners
mhm,
listening to me now, I mean, you're visually going on this journey with me to tell you and explain to you what this stroller and what this travel system does. And it doesn't do it justice, right? I mean, you really need that visual content. And I think the power of She Speaks and the community that you guys have paired with that really knowing the Walmart customer for this being a
mhm,
Walmart exclusive brand was so
mhm,
critical for
mhm,
us. And then the content, spoiler alert, went viral. And I think it did go viral because of really that matchmaking in terms
mhm,
of you guys being that expert in content and helping us really get it to be brand first content but also be really organic to the customer. I
mhm,
think that's definitely something that brands struggle with. If it doesn't look and feel and talk exactly like us, therefore it can't work. And I think that
mhm.
this campaign really said differently, which was exciting.
Yeah.
But just the power of influencer, oh my gosh. I mean,
Mhm,
the immediate add to cart is
Mhm.
unlike any other channel, it feels like right now,
Mhm.
which is so exciting. And
Mhm.
then when you look in the comments section too, it's like one of my favorite things to do. When you look in the comments section, it's literally listening to your customer. And everyone in the comments
Mhm.
section said, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe that I can get this at Walmart one, and I had no idea that it was, under $400. It's less than that, which
Mhm.
is incredible." And
Mhm.
again, really finding that price point at that $900, $1,000 range, like
Yeah.
that's such a nice surprise and delight,
Yeah.
especially for the everyday family.
One of the pieces of content that you mentioned, it went viral. It had 4.6 million views. And I think the reason, like I went back to the team and I said, why do we think this piece of content worked so well? And I think what was really interesting was because of the fact that the stroller kind of swiveled, and it was such a game changer, I think, for parents, like one of those moments of like, how come this didn't exist before?
Totally.
And I think that the first 3 seconds of that video, which you have 3 seconds, right, to catch somebody's attention as they're scrolling, the first 3 seconds demonstrated that unique element, that extremely unique element of the stroller. And then I think the other thing was that at the time, there was trending text on screen that said POV.
Yeah.
Like there
Oh, the
was this thing
POV
to
trend.
point
We
the
love a
POV.
POV trend in the baby space.
Totally, the POV trend, and this influencer really like locked in on both of those things, and they had the right audience, right? So
Absolutely.
when you get that combination of elements, I think you can get something that goes viral. So when you're thinking about any like were there any kind of takeaways that you would say, okay, based on this is what we might think about like moving forward? Anything that you would mention like that you think was really interesting and that you all learned through the execution of the campaign?
Yeah, I mean, I think that prove that great organic content can be tested with paid, and
Mm,
then it's really like floodgates open in the best way of just, reach and getting it out there in the way that it needs to be seen. The insights that your team was able to bring back to us. I think that it's very easy for baby brands to talk to mom, but the insights, especially year after year, are trending towards all different types of caregivers. And a
mhm,
lot of the insights that we got from you guys were from dads, and
mm,
that dads were a big purchase decision maker in this journey with mom,
mhm,
or their spouse, whatever that might look like. And I think that that is so wonderful, because that to us, that's an actionable insight. That's an
mhm,
actionable insight that then I go have a conversation with our brand team, our product team, our C-suite, whatever that might look like, right?
mhm.
And maybe we're already there. So stay tuned. But
Oh, that's awesome.
but I think it's important for especially brands out there to, okay, you might really know your audience, but don't be afraid to lean into potentially an audience that might surprise you, and do that with a great partner that's got great insights to help you drive that.
So that is interesting. And the one thing I just wanted to touch upon, because I think this is one of the things that maybe came a little bit later in thinking about how brands have been working with influencers. I think this came a little bit later, but and for some brands, quite frankly, Chase, I'm not sure that they're there yet. But I think what you all did with the content, understanding that using the content could actually be good for paid efforts, and seeing that it was successful there. I mean, if you're a marketer, that's like, I mean, how much A/B testing do we all do
Oh my
about all
gosh,
sorts of things?
we love an A/B test. Love an A/B test. But, I mean, I think that it is so important to test. It is so important to put, really great content behind paid. And this, I think, is just going to become more and more important, especially, I mean, I hate to even like say the word AI on this podcast, but like in the world of AI, I mean, we're all going to be held to a new standard of not an A/B test, an A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? I mean, you're
Mhm.
really going to have to be on your A
Mhm.
game and understand what content resonates. And oh, by the
Mhm.
way, it's going to change every single day
Mhm.
because your algorithm's always going to change, right? So
Yeah.
it's so important to keep up with all of those facets that are
Yeah.
really important to how your content is being served and that end consumer and how they are digesting that content. And to your point earlier, I mean, you got 3 seconds.
Yep.
So those better be the best 3 seconds you got.
Right. Well, and it's interesting because I think the element of content being like really critical and how important good content is definitely not something new, right? I mean, how long have we been, giving awards to great commercials and to all like great, really good content? I think what's cool about the influencer space is that because the tools have gotten so much better in terms of creating content and the level of professionalism that and then using it in channels digital channels, let's say, that feel native to social media. Seeing that content is just, it feels more native. If you're seeing a piece of influencer content and it's an ad, you're less likely to think, oh, this is an ad I'm being presented it with, and you're more likely to tune into it. And I
Oh,
think that
absolutely.
that's one of the things that the industry is starting to adopt, and I
Yes.
think you guys have already adopted it, but it's a really like, if you get good content, optimize it. Like, use it whatever you
100%.
need.
100%. And, and I think She Speaks is part of Walmart Connect from the partner network. And so for us, that was incredibly important because we want to make sure we're partnering with Walmart Connect in a way too that works for everybody's business. And I think, what was so great about that campaign was not only from the paid aspect that we had in Meta, but then we
Mhm.
also took elements of that content and we put it in to DSP. We put it into the external audiences that would have been seen as someone's just browsing a site that is
Mhm.
relevant to baby, right? Like for me as a marketer, that's a dream. And then
Yeah.
that, to your point, really takes that content and it puts it everywhere it needs to be
Yeah.
instead of just social and really bringing people into the fold and bringing them into Walmart, which obviously for Walmart, we love that. And we love that for us. So everybody wins.
All right. Well, I want to switch gears to talk about how you're navigating this juvenile space, like working for Dorel Juvenile, at the same time as being a new mom. So you have
Yes.
one, and you just came back from maternity leave a couple months ago, right?
Yes,
From your
yes. I came back
second.
in January. So I have a 6-month-old. So for everyone listening, I have a 3.5-year-old. I have a 6-month-old. I have two
Oh
beautiful
my
girls. And I think honestly, whew, I mean, if anyone's figured it out, give me a call because I know what I've talked to has figured it out. But I think it's been wild and it's been beautiful and such a blessing working at a baby company, being a mom, because
God.
I think that you understand the product, you can touch, you can feel, you can all that. But when you are living it and you are in and
Mhm.
out of the car seat, you are in and out of the stroller, that
Mhm.
high chair, works or it doesn't work when you need it to. I mean, that's a whole different ballgame. So my feedback went from no, no, I really, really like this. So hey, did you see my email? I've got 100 questions. But at the same time, it's really, I think, made hopefully me a better cross-functional partner that
Mhm.
I'm able to go to the product team and say, hey, what if, right? We go back to what
Mhm.
if. And we can talk as a company sometimes in a brainstorming capacity and say, hey, have we thought about this? Because we're always now really keeping that customer at the center. And parents, oh my gosh, we've got so much going on. Like, I mean, everyone's got things going on, but you throw kids in the mix and like you don't have any plan. All your plans just went out the window, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah. I
think
mean,
navigating that,
mhm.
as a marketer internally has been really wonderful.
Yeah.
As a mom and a professional, I think you can't be afraid to set boundaries.
Yeah.
And
100%.
I think that it's also totally cool to say, "Hey, I need help."
Mhm.
I think for me, I don't have family here. So I had
Mhm.
to be very vocal, especially with my husband, and say, "Hey, we need a system. Two is not one. Like we got all hands on
Mhm.
deck here." And
Mhm.
I don't think that's weakness. I don't think that professional parents really talk about that much because we're supposed to have this whole facade of I've got it together and yep, I'm going to be in the meeting and you may be on the meeting but there may be a kid just literally right over to my left screen, right? Just
Oh
like
god,
screaming
yes.
their head off and you just go with
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
we're still navigating. I don't know if we're ever going to figure it out, but I'm very lucky to work with great groups of people that I think completely empathize and sympathize if they don't have children
Mhm.
because we're all human. We're all
Yeah.
humans at the core of it.
Yeah. Just in thinking about your saying, don't be afraid to ask for help. It's to me, there's a theme that I'm hearing from you. And it goes back to what you were saying before about asking, well, why? Why is it this way why have we always done it this way? Does it still make sense to be doing it this way? To me, there's a vulnerability that we show when we ask for help, when we
Yes.
ask why, we're asking these questions, but it also is like it's like a superpower. It is
I love that.
I think it's a superpower for you. To me, there is this consistency. There's a mindset of I am not going to be afraid to ask for help. I'm not going to be afraid to ask this question. And that vulnerability that I think serves people so well in their career, done appropriately,
Totally.
right?
Absolutely.
Done professionally and appropriately, that vulnerability is a superpower, I think.
I love that. I love that reframing of it too, because I feel like honestly, I truly have always tried to show up to my life, my job, whatever that might be, just 100% me. Like you are gonna get what you get, and I'm probably maybe apologize to you later, right? I mean, like it's just who I am. It's how I
Yeah.
was raised,
Yeah.
and I really have this approach that just treat people like people. Don't be an a-hole, treat people like people
Yep.
and be yourself. And if that's not accepted to where you are, whether that's personal or whether that's professional, then it's not the place, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's not. And I refuse to ever change myself to be someone that someone else wants me to be. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't take feedback, and that doesn't mean that I'm always reflecting and,
Mhm.
being aware and being more self-aware of how you can come through, but treating people like people, not being an a-hole, and like showing up authentically hasn't failed me yet. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep on that trajectory.
It sounds like it's working. All right. Well, my last question for you is I always love to end with this. If you could go back and give the younger Chase who was just getting started in her career one piece of advice, what would it be?
I feel like you truly trust your gut.
Mm,
And I know that that is like so, so simple, but
mhm,
in my experience,
mhm,
if I have a gut feeling, good or bad, I'm acting on it. And I'll give you the example. When I was starting out, I was in the agency world. I was in Fort Worth, Texas. I was at a great brand agency, and I got a call from Saatchi and Saatchi X. And I saw that they were located in Springdale, Arkansas. Well, let's just be completely honest. I didn't know where that was. I didn't know what was going on, right? But I did know that they were offering a job for digital strategy. It was for Procter and Gamble and it was for Walmart. So I knew those two companies and I said, "Hey, what if I move there?
mm,
Let's just see how it goes."
mm,
And then the worst case scenario, I hate it and then I move back. Well, guess what? I didn't hate it. It propelled my entire career.
mm,
And I think if I could go back and say to my little girl self, it's trust your gut, but also
mhm,
trust your gut with the right team, with the right people in your corner to cheer you on. My
Mm,
husband is my biggest cheerleader. My
mm,
parents were the absolute best, and they instilled in me as a little girl that literally you can do anything you want.
mhm.
And I hope
That's a
to do that
gift.
for my children. I hope to do that. I do that from a mentor standpoint now. I mean,
Mm,
it sounds really simple and a little cliche, but like, trust your gut.
yeah.
Good, bad, ugly. Trust
I
it.
love that you said that because I think that frequently as women, we can beat up on ourselves for what we like for decisions we made in the past. And I think because as women we are very intuitive,
Yes.
we do have these gut feelings about things, but and then we make like we will do something but we don't think of it maybe as a proactive decision, so we go back and we Monday morning quarterback it. Not that, by the way, I'm not a sports person, but I know a few sports like terms. But I love that term of like how, like you go back and you, after you've made the decision, you beat yourself up and you're like, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Well, the answer is you went with your gut, but because you maybe not, weren't conscious of it, you like think you go back and you ruminate. You like,
Oh,
like
totally.
you just get like you marinate in this like uncertainty. And I love that that is your piece of advice to go with your gut and trust your gut.
Just
And
trust. Just trust
yes,
yourself.
and maybe the one thing that I would say is maybe just be conscious of it. Like saying,
Absolutely.
I am consciously going with this because it's what I feel and I'm gonna do that. And I think it's such a good piece of advice. I love that. I love
It's
that.
simple, but I feel like very important. So
No,
hopefully
for
those
sure.
listening, trust your gut.
Well, Chase Cooper, thank you so much for
Thanks for having me.
spending
This was so
this
fun.
time. I'm so happy that we got a chance to chat. I learned a lot. I am grateful that you agreed to spend some time with me today.
Well, thank you for asking. I am happy to come back and appreciate you and the She Speaks team so much. And we'll talk later.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks so much.